Hi all, my name is Inês Domingos, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you to this Q&A session about our PhD program, LisbonBioMed, hosted here at Instituto de Medicina Molecular, IMM, a life science research institute based in the heart of the beautiful and sunny city of Lisbon in Portugal. To help us learn more about this program and what it can offer to you as a prospective PhD student, scientist, or a curious person, we have Domingos Henrique, our Director of Studies, and Filipa Nunes, Executive Manager of the Training Hub Unit here at IMM. Pedro Papotto and Mafalda Pimentel are two of our IMM alumni students who recently finished their PhD thesis here at IMM and have moved on to their next step of their careers, both as postdoctoral fellows, Pedro as an EMBO fellow at Manchester University in the UK, and Mafalda as a postdoc here in our neighboring institute, Gulbenkian Science IGC. Please use our chat to ask your questions, or if you prefer, you can use any other of our social media channels on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. Today is a very special day for science, especially for those interested in the principles of biology. The seminal work of Charles Darwin on the origin of species was first published on November 24th in 1859, 161 years ago. So my first question goes to Domingos, and I think it's the best way to start this. Domingos, what it takes to be a scientist?
That is an interesting question. I mean, mostly I think is curiosity. Someone that wants to know how things work and wants to know how you can understand how things work. I think that's the main feature I see in all scientists that I know is they want to understand something. And something, of course, in the physical world. If you want to understand things in other terms of the society, etc., then you can become a social scientist. But a biologist, scientist, he wants to know how the living beings function, where do they come from, and I think having this anniversary of Darwin's Origin of Species is amazing to follow the life of Darwin and understand how he spent all his life trying to understand one of the most basic and fundamental questions, where do you come from? And his theory, remember, Darwin is still a theory because it was never formally proved, because it's not easy to do the experiment of evolution. It takes a long time. It's the starting of the modern science. And he was a very curious man. One of the things that I always recommend students and scientists is whenever you go to London as a tourist after the pandemics, don't go and visit Madame Tussauds museum, because it's not funny. Go and take a train. It's about half an hour train trip from London, and go to Darwin's house. He's in the south of London. It's a fantastic garden and a house. You can eat very good scones and drink English tea there. But you see the environment where Darwin lived for a long time and did his research on the evolution on the fields about animals and plants. He did his own research there, but he spent there all his life after the famous voyage of the Beagle. And that's where he wrote, where he did all his experiments and thoughts. So it's a fantastic experience. I think all biologists that are proud to be biologists should go to Darwin's house once in their lifetime. It's like the religion people that have to go to Fatima or to Mecca. I think all biologists should go to Darwin's house once in their lifetime. So it's curiosity. I want to understand things, how it works, and then use the scientific method. So that's what we want scientists, and that's what we want students to be. Their main characteristic is they want to know something. They are curious and they are emotionally prepared and enjoy the discovery. That's all what we ask from scientists.
Yeah, that is actually probably one of the most interesting and most important aspects of a scientist at any stage, right? Even in the beginning. And I would go next to Pedro and to Mafalda to ask you not what it takes to be a scientist, because I think that Domingos and we all agree that he said it all, or mainly the most important parts. But what was the drive for both of you to start this career as a scientist? So what drove you to science in the first place? And what drove you to this road of taking a PhD and doing a PhD? Because I think that's also very important for the prospective students who are on the verge of, what should I do? Should I like science? I'm very curious. I like to ask questions. Should I do this as a career? Pedro, Mafalda.
Do you want to go first, Pedro? This is a very tricky question. I wasn't ready for it. But
you can go, Mafalda.
Yeah.
I'll be a gentleman.
Well, it's a hard question. What took me to do a PhD? Of course, I did a master's first. That helped. But the reason why I enjoyed going on through this biology career path was that I was always very curious, just like Domingos said. I remember being small and asking my mom all the time, why is it like this? Why is it like that? I was the most annoying kid asking, why are things like this? And I'm still quite annoying, I would say, because I always fact-checked everything. But basically, I like to know stuff, and I like understanding why things are like that and how are the processes, and like that. It helps me integrating things in my mind. So it was just very natural. I don't imagine myself doing anything else that are at least not related to science, because I think that aspect of it is very cool. Like, we are always learning new stuff. Every day you're exposed to new information. And I think that's awesome.
Pedro.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, I don't want to repeat both Domingos and Mafalda, but I think curiosity is actually the major driver in the end, because I think it kind of keeps you going, right? Maybe you didn't even start because of that, but it kind of keeps you going. And I think, like Mafalda, I have always been curious to understand how things work, especially biological things, right? So biological machines. So I have always been fascinated by how the body works, how the animals became what they are, and well, when I start having chemistry in school, I mean, the whole idea of having like tiny molecules swimming all over us, I mean, that was really cool, because like such tiny entities kind of like govern us all, right? And I always wanted to understand, I mean, why things are like this. And yeah, basically, I think curiosity is the main thing for scientists, I would say. Yeah.
And although, so for sure, curiosity is the main driver, and probably is the most important characteristic that one should have when pursuing a scientific career. But this is also something, our critical mind is something that needs to be trained, right? And it's something that this consistent and this the use of the scientific method, it's something that we can do in our daily lives, but also when you are thinking and learning how to think about experiments, scientists. And this probably is also very important during, probably no, I think it's very important during a PhD. And so in terms of your progression also as a scientist, how can a structured PhD program can help you in this process of learning how to think critically? So you can have the main skills for that, the curiosity, the ideas, how to ask questions, but this also needs to be systematic and needs to be learned how to do, right? Or you think it's not so important? Pedro, Mafalda.
Yeah,
Mafalda,
definitely.
go.
No, definitely. Yeah, completely.
Should we take turns? Like every time we alternate, maybe it's easier like this. Go ahead.
I think I can start this one, Mafalda, just to give you a break. Well, I mean, I think, of course, I think curiosity is intrinsic, but then the scientific method is, you learn it, right? Of course, there's a lot of, I think scientists, they have intuition, and I think it's one good trait for a scientist to have like a good biological or chemical or whatever scientific intuition that they have. But it comes, of course, with knowledge, right? And training and learning and studying. But yeah, I think to be in a PhD program, to be enrolled in a PhD program, it really helps you to start really having a solid scientific method that backs up your curiosity. So I think for sure it's like I think it's essential. You cannot just like start playing around with molecules and animals and whatever without knowing, I mean, how to do it. You need to know how to ask the right questions. You need to know how to answer these questions, and how to deal then with the answers that you get back from your questions. And that's why I think a PhD program is for. It's like to really help you to understand how to do science on a day-to-day basis.
So for me, the biomed structure, the structure of the program, it was very optimal, because you have this common, I'm not sure it's still like this, but I had a common 2 months classes of like interaction with all the scientists at the institute, right? And even it was 1 week with several groups, and even those weeks were quite different among each other, because on some it was much more methodologies like equipment, techniques that the institute was using. Others were more critical, like understand the concepts of a paper and criticize, finding the flaws, finding the strengths. So those 2 months were very intense, but they were very good for not only being exposed to different things, but also we had also these debates in which we were given a topic, a hot topic, that we had to come up with, arguments from the pro side and the con side. And that was also very good, because you had to also put yourself in other people's shoes and try to defend something you actually didn't agree with. So the structure of the program is great in the beginning, not only because you create friends, which are most important for doing a PhD, in my opinion, but because it was so rich, and it was a really good learning experience to prepare you for what comes next. And I think the scientific method that we've been talking about, maybe some people come better prepared than others, but definitely I would say through your PhD, it's when you learn. Either you have there are several options, right? That you can have a very involved supervisor which teaches you really well how to go through the thinking process, analyzing the way of designing your experiments, or you learn with your own mistakes, which is good and important. The sooner you make your mistakes, the best. But I think that those initial months were very, very good to open your horizon and really like be at your top level when you start doing your experiments. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and it is exactly So today we are here to talk specifically about this PhD program. So it's good that you started by mentioning that, because exactly that is one of the interesting features of this program. And actually it starts with a course on towards a critical mind. And Filipa, could you tell us a little bit, an overview of how the program is structured and its main features, so that we can start from there to explore the different parts of it?
Yes, so as Mafalda said, so the program starts with this 8-week course towards a creative and critical mind. It is planned to occur next January with this new group. During this course, so the students are exposed to all the groups and the thematics of the IMM labs, to all the people, and the weeks are organized in a thematic way. So each week corresponds to a theme, and the groups that give the seminars are the ones from that cluster. Usually it's so the seminars are on Monday and Tuesday, and then there are other initiatives and activities like the Inspiring Figures seminars, the debates, as Mafalda explained, and some social activities that also we organize around with the students.
Now the social activities might have a different flavor, right? They will be a little bit different, but they will still exist, which is the important part.
Yeah, for sure. We will manage to maintain that type of activities, because indeed it's really important to create the sense of the group and the sense of community also with all the IMM researchers and facilities, so with everybody. So after the course, the students need to decide the group, the supervisor, the group, and then together with the group to design the project. So they have been exposed to all the groups before, so then it's time for them to choose and then to develop the project for the 4 years next. Then the structure of the curricular structure is somehow flexible. So besides this course, they can then, during the 4 years of the PhD program, choose the courses that they want to participate in. So the ones that are more tailored to their needs, so they can, between the courses that we and the Faculty of Medicine organize, they can choose the ones that they want to participate.
But Filipa, just for us to understand, so these courses are typically 1 week, 1 day, and on what topics? Do we have more technical topics or soft skills workshops?
Yeah, so it's a mixture. It's a mixture of all the things that you mentioned. So we have more technical courses that could last 1 week, 2 weeks. It depends. Like the experience, how to deal with the animals, how to handle the animals, cytometry courses, bioimaging courses. Then there's also some clinical courses for the ones that are more interested in this type of course or this type of learnings. And so the faculty has a long course, but that is divided in modules in which the students can participate. Then there are more thematic courses like in neurosciences or in immunology. And they last, it depends a little the structure, but they could last for 1 or 2 weeks. And then there are transferable skills courses or workshops. So the majority of them are organized by our very dynamic PhD community. So we have the PhD Students Committee, and they suggest the courses that the community wants to have and to participate, and we support them in delivering and in providing and organizing these courses so that all the PhD students can participate. And it could be from scientific
Science
writing.
communication.
Exactly, you will give one of the courses. So yeah, tech transfer, science communication, science writing, more motivation, and how to deal with the stress, and how to complete the PhD thesis successfully.
How to write the PhD thesis, or how to write a paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, very important things to go along, not only during the PhD, but also tools that the students and the thereafter scientists can use in their daily careers, right?
Sure.
Or even though if they will not pursue a career in science, these are all skills that will be important for their careers.
Sure, for sure. So the PhD students also, sorry, Ines, the PhD students in that regard also organize science careers sessions. So for usually they bring people that are outside academia to explain to us, that are not used to deal with this type of positions, to explain what are the positions and the needs and the skills that the students should acquire during the PhD for them then to apply to that kind of positions.
One of the very interesting aspects of our institute of IMM is that it's located in this big hospital campus, where the biggest hospital in Portugal, University Hospital, is located. But also our building is home to the medical school of Lisbon. And so we have in the same campus a university hospital, a research institute, and a medical school. And most of our scientists, or some of our scientists, are also doctors at the hospital, directors of departments in the hospital, but also they are professors at the medical school. And our PhD program is integrated in this environment, which probably is very interesting in terms of transferable projects from the bench to the bedside and the other way around. Of course, this is easier to say in theory than it's probably happening in the practice. But the environment itself, I think it's very interesting and can also be home for very important partnerships and interactions within this campus, but also outside. So students from this PhD program can also go abroad or can visit other institutes, correct, Filipa?
Yes, sure. So they
Can you comment a little bit about that? So how is that happening? What it takes for a student to go abroad, or what type of collaborations can happen here?
So when they design the project together with the supervisor, they can already organize or start planning the time that they will spend abroad. They usually do that to achieve skills in a technique or in a specific area, and they usually start by designing this together with the project. So they can spend up to 12 months abroad. Then the fellowship covers all these periods abroad. So it depends a lot on the project, on the groups, the collaborations that the groups already have established and that they want to establish to achieve a specific goal during the PhD project. So it's very good for them to have this possibility. Usually they take advantage of it, and it's very important, of course.
Mm-hmm. Another topic, which I think, by the way, if you have questions, please use our chat. I will reinforce this. Please use our chat, and we will refer your questions here to the group. An important topic that we are starting to have at IMM and which I think it's one of the most important things in terms of our internal community, is diversity. We have people from different parts of the world that come here to IMM, and Pedro is one of the examples. He's not Portuguese, and he has chosen Portugal and IMM to start his career. So I would like to ask you, Pedro and Mafalda, what do you think about this environment that we have at IMM, and how cool, I say cool because I think it's very cool, how cool is this for you, or this, how cool was this for you as students during the 4, 5, 6 years that you have spent here, and how important was that environment? Pedro.
It's your time, Mafalda, to start.
Okay.
Go, Mafalda.
Although I'm Portuguese from Lisbon, I can say that, so I was in IMM already for 2 years before I started my PhD, and I could see a huge progression. So when I joined, I think there were much less foreigners. And over the years, the diversity, like culturally at least, has been increasing a lot. And it was great. I think there was a lot of social happening in the Institute, which is very important for you to meet people from other labs, to know what they're doing. People are presenting their work regularly. But I also think that's a thing that's intrinsic to Lisbon itself. At least the foreigners I know that come to Lisbon, they all say that we are all very welcoming. We speak English very easily to foreigners, or sometimes we even try to speak their language, French, Spanish. So I do.
Sorry, Mafalda, let me just add here. So English is actually one of the working languages of the institutes. So please go ahead.
Exactly. And I think at least the people I know feel very comfortable here. They have been to other countries. They say Portugal is very welcoming. But I think Pedro is the best person to answer this question.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really good question because. Well, I was very reluctant to go to Portugal when I was choosing a place to do my PhD because, of course, I was going away from Brazil and I wanted to have like a full going abroad experience, right? So I was really reluctant to go to a place where people would speak my mother language, or kind of.
We can talk about that too.
Yeah, but then, I mean, these kind of things happen, right? It happened that I got accepted in the program, and the program, I mean, always sounded like very, very appealing because of this whole international thing going on. It is, after all, like an international PhD program, so that was quite appealing for me. And then I decided to give it a shot. And from day one, I was like really impressed with IMM environment because it was really very international. So even, I mean, in my class from the PhD program, we had people from abroad, not only me. So that was nice. And when I joined the lab, so we were like 50% of the lab from abroad. So that was really cool. And for sure, it really made my stay in Portugal much richer because I got in contact with other cultures apart from the Portuguese culture, and it really helped me to make the most out of it, you know, because you meet new people, you meet people from different backgrounds that were exposed to very different situations that you have been in your home country. So yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, if in which regards internationality, I think IMM is amazing because you find a piece of a little piece of like every part of the world in there, and apart from that, apart from having people from everywhere, I think that the sense of community is like really a plus in IMM. I mean, all the things that we have going, that you have going on IMM, because I don't have it anymore. But all the things that you have going are amazing. And when I was there, it was really cool. I mean, all the scientific lectures, gatherings, but also the social activities, amazing. And you cannot find that like anywhere else, I would say. It's really cool.
Pedro and Mafalda, so let me, you were not here this year. Let me just show you my background fully so that you can see. So together we work to build an inclusive environment in which everyone can accomplish their goals. So diversity is really an important thing for us. This is the motto of our new internal motto. So it's really about that, and it is really important for us to have this diversity within the community. And of course you are so the PhD students are a big part of this community. We have around 120 PhD students total, and every year we have about 20-30 that finish their PhDs and that move on to the next steps of their careers. And so, of course, you are, as Filipa has said, the PhD students in our institute are a major driving force for the life of the institute, not only by organizing social gatherings. We have an IMM get-together, which is a group, an informal group of people who tries to create this sense of community inside the institute, but also that can participate in one of the most interesting and cool seminar series that we have, which is the PISA seminars, which are organized by students and happen every 2 weeks. Now in a virtual mode due to this worldwide pandemic that we are living. But yeah, we have seminars with PISA. This is really nice. And these are the moments where the students present their work. I would like to ask you also, both of you, do you think that also this exposure to having to present seminars in these bi-weekly PISA seminars, but not only that, so every year when we receive our scientific advisory board, students and postdocs are also have also to present their work to this group of scientists that visit us every year. So how do you think this is also important for your progression and for your career? Now, Mafalda, Pedro, Mafalda, Pedro, Mafalda, Pedro.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, Mafalda. Yeah, I think, of course, all these experiences contribute to like doing a good PhD, right? I think also from day one, when we are in the 8 weeks course, we also had regular presentations, and everything always with like a really open atmosphere where you can talk and you can expose your ideas, and you can learn, and people will listen to you, and then of course they will criticize in a good way, because science is criticism, right? I mean, you have to deal with that, and I think this is really cool. I mean, the environment in IMM is open for criticism and like constructive criticism, so I think this is really cool. And I mean, being exposed to all of these experiences really help, and not only PISA seminars, which are really great because it's like organized for PhD students, 2 PhD students, but you also have you are able to present your results in more specialized interest groups. So you have clubs, right? So you have the immunology club, parasitology club, where you can present your stuff for people that really understand what you're talking about. So the variety of the audience is really cool as well, because IMM is a very diverse institute. People work with a lot of different aspects of science, of biological sciences. So you have to learn how to gauge your presentation as well for your audience. And this is like real life when you work with science. Sometimes you will present for people that really are experts on your field. Sometimes you will present for like general scientists that do not understand what you're doing like exactly. So all these kind of experiences throughout the PhD really help a lot. And I think you can finish the whole thing like really prepared to present and to expose your ideas and to discuss, which is like, I think, the basis, one of the bases of science.
Mafalda.
Yeah, and there's also the international seminars, the Monday lectures, where an international speaker gives a talk. And that was always amazing because there is this, how do you say, a routine where you go and have, any student can go and have lunch with the speaker. And that, if I'm breaking, let me know because my internet isn't stable. But so that was great because it was a great opportunity to know a lot of leaders in their fields and get to know really like how it is their labs, how they run their labs, not only the science, but really try to understand how science is done in other countries. And you're just there sitting with someone super important and they're super nice to you and they'll give you advice. And that was super cool. But coming back to all these structures in IMM, I just want to say that IMM has this in its favor. So first, the size is good because it's not a too small institute, but I would say it's also not too huge. So there's enough diversity of topics being studied there and has been around for enough time so that the groups are well established. So I say 10 years or a bit more than 10 years.
A bit more than that.
So
16, but who's counting?
Okay, so it's not too young in the sense that everyone is still trying to figure out how to do their experiments and but it's also not too old so that everyone is already like thinking of retiring, right? So it's like, it's at the peak of age, I would say. People are really getting competitive about their work and really like focused, I would say. And on top of that, there's all the structures. So we were talking about this inclusive environment. And I think because it was an institute that was built recently, it was all the programs and everything was already built with a structure that it's very useful to the people in the institute. So for instance, the PhD program and even the PhDs who are not part of the program, they have access to a bunch of things. For instance, Filipa Nunes, she's great. She helps you in every single way you can imagine. And there's also like structures to help you with inclusivity. If you feel like you have a problem with your supervisor, if there's a problem with your science, with your thesis, there's all kinds of committees and things that you can recur to. Of course, you have to take the step to go and search for those things. But if you do want help or if you need help, the help is there. And if the help is not there, what I think is very good about IMM is that if you come up with ideas and you propose things, it's a very open environment to create an improvement. And that's very good, I think. IMM is very special in that sense.
Yeah, it's nice because you really gave an overview of all the other parts that we were talking here, right? Thesis committee, tutors, and all of that who can help you also during the process of a PhD. That we know that it's not an easy process for the majority of the students, even the most successful students, sometimes in their way, because it's very tough to be a scientist. It's really cool and nice career, but it's also a tough one. And we need to have in place structures that can help you to deal with that. But one of the interesting things that both of you have said, and that I would like Domingos also to add on and to comment, it's the science part. So we have been talking about structure, environment, and so on, but the science is probably one of the most important things that can lead you and bring you to IMM. And so, Domingos, could you tell us a little bit about the interesting scientific outputs that we can have, or that we have had at IMM? And if you want to talk about the future perspectives, where do you think science is driving us? We cannot listen to you. You have your micro down. I always make you the hardest questions. Sorry.
Science, I mean, the people that are considering coming to IMM as a PhD student more or less have an idea. But I would say, my perspective, IMM is very strong in immunology. And this immunology has two branches. One is the immunological research applied to host-parasite interactions, like virus, like the Plasmodium, like the Trypanosoma. So this is a thing that IMM is really strong, and there's this interface between the immunology and the parasite and other infections. But also as a very interesting and strong component of the clinical immunology, which, and it starts to be interesting, is to do immunology in patients, to do immunological studies. And for instance, this is so good at IMM that IMM was the leader in studies about how the virus, the SARS-CoV-2, is dealt with the immunological system in humans. And there's a group of Mark Veldon and Ana Espada de Souza, and they were leading the research on human patients with COVID-19. And so that shows how well this area is developed at IMM and ready to start to answer very practical questions in this emergency. So I think we have also a very good component in cell and molecular biology in terms of gene expression regulation, in terms of how cells organize in space. So this is a bit of a science that is transversal and supports a bit the knowledge that is essential for all the other areas. And we have also a strong component on neuroscience. And in this neuroscience, we have from the basic neuroscience measuring cell-cell communication through neurons and so on. And also a very strong component on the clinical neuroscience. And that, again, takes advantage of our connection and our, not only connection, we are part of the hospital of this academical center. And more and more we see more integration, and people start doing work from rats in the lab to humans. So that's very exciting. It is one of the strongest points of the IMM is this connection to the clinic. So I think that's what I would say. I would ask, and I would say another thing that to complement what was being said before is when we start this course for the PhD students next year, we're going to have a party. We always have a party in which you put together the all PhD students, the ones that are on the first to the fourth year of the PhD, with the new students. The only thing, we hope to do this party this year again. The only thing probably we're going to have is a first party, a vaccination party. So I hope that we can vaccinate all the students on the first day of their PhD so that they don't worry anymore about the pandemics and can interact. And so I'm a positive guy. I think the vaccine will be ready. The vaccine is ready. So
Domingos, we managed to wait 47 minutes to start talking about COVID, which is super cool. So go ahead.
It's important. I think the IMM, what the IMM has been doing on COVID-19 research, it's really highlights our strengths and the capacity of the IMM. Not only in terms of all the testing, but in terms of the immunological research. I found it amazing that people got, and the knowledge was there. So I think that's a fantastic example, and I hope it's attracting to the students.
Mm-hmm. It is, for sure. And also, I would like to add here to everything that you have said, this important environment, not only in the campus that we have, but the fact that the Lisbon and Oeiras area that surrounds our institute, it has also other research institutes, life science research institutes that somehow complement what we have and what we can offer. So we have this new alliance called Call Life that joins together 6 research institutes, including IMM, that work in this Lisbon and Oeiras area, and that are also very important sources of places where you can search for different techniques, or even different people who work in similar fields to yours, and can have about what the clubs, the shared clubs and shared seminars that are very close by. So this is also an important thing to add to this. We have more or less 10 minutes. We have a couple of questions from our audience I would like to ask you now. So one of the things, because we were talking in English and saying that English is a very, it's one of our working languages here at IMM, we do have a question about if there is a need for an English test for the application. This is a question from Cristina Barroso. Filipa, can you?
So there's no need for the candidates to present or to submit certificate, an English certificate. So we will, the students that will pass to the second phase of the selection will undergo an interview. The interview will be in English, and at that moment we will evaluate the English capacities of each of the candidates.
Second question is about foreigner students. Are they eligible to apply, or how do they get a studentship if they had? This is a question from Harshadri JP. I'm sorry if this is not your right way to say your name.
Yeah, so the program is open for all people from all nationalities, and we encourage all foreign students to apply. If the fellowship is mixed, meaning that during the program, the PhD project, they will be spending some time abroad, they will need to have a certificate, a proof of residence in Portugal, but it's only in that case, and then they can address this during the PhD.
Yes,
do not forget the foreign students can apply, should apply, and they are stimulated to apply, but they have to first register their degrees on the Portuguese certification board, and there are instructions on our website how this can be done. So you say for applicants with foreign academic degrees, they will have to be, the degrees have to be registered to obtain recognition by the Portuguese authorities and conversion of the respective final grade to the Portuguese grade scale. And more information can be obtained on the site. So this is a bit of a bureaucratic process that can all be done online. You don't need to go, you just submit, send and they will deal with that. And hopefully on time for us. It could take longer than expected. So as soon as you do that, the better.
Yes, and all the information that Domingos was saying on the LisbonBioMed webpage, that I'm sure it's already on the chat. But you can also reach out to either through our social media channels or through our main website. If you search for IMM Lisbon, IMM Instituto de Medicina Molecular, you will find us. You can email us, and we will try to help. We will try to help you also during this process. Filipa and Domingos are here also to help you. Another question that we have is about, so it's from M. Santu. How does it work in terms of classes or courses plus the wet lab work? So how is the combination for this?
I mean, Filipa explained a bit already. The philosophy we have is we don't want the students to spend 6 months or 1 year, the whole first year of the PhD, having more courses. That is, in our perspective, is mostly inadequate, because people have already did 4 or 5 years at university. And so losing 1 year of the PhD in another set of classes, it's not productive. So we have a short introductory course, 4 or 8 weeks, depending, because now of the pandemic. But this course, as the Mafalda and Pedro already explained, it's a way to introduce all the students to get friendship, to get networking, so that they can support themselves, to learn what we are doing at IMM. So we'll have talks from PIs and postdocs and the other PhD students about their work they're doing at IMM. Is to also have talks from clinicians to introduce you to clinical questions that might interest people for an interesting PhD project. Is to have talks from more senior scientists that will tell you the story of their scientific life. And it's very motivating and learning with the successes and the mistakes of the established scientists. And so it's 4 or 8 weeks in which is very intense, but not more than that. And then throughout the remaining of the 3 years and 10 months of the PhD, we'll have opportunity to have other scientific courses, and mainly we stimulate students to propose, organize, and drive their own courses according to their own interests. I mean, students, PhD students at IMM, my philosophy is that they are full scientists. They have all the rights and should get the same rules as everybody else. So they can organize things. They can put all these questions. If they think one team is interesting, they can invite a scientist to come and give a talk. So they are scientists. So the first day that you enter, after you get vaccinated for the virus, of course, you are a full-time scientist. And
even before that,
you should contribute to all the activities at IMM. It's the way of maturing as a scientist. So courses is the short possible, and then up to you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we have another question. Actually, this one, Pedro, is from Mateus Barros, also Brazilian. And he asks if the institute accepts students from other countries, such as Brazil. He would like to pursue a master or a doctorate in Lisbon, and he's from Manaus, Amazonas, Brazil. So I believe that we have already answered to this. Of course, we accept students from other countries. And well, Pedro is an example from Brazil. Is there any type of restrictions or any type of problems that you might encounter as a Brazilian student in this case? Pedro, have you had any problems?
So no, of course, in the beginning, I think it was a bit difficult because when I went to IMM, I think the training hub was not established yet. So I had to hit my head against the wall a bit, but I mean, everything went super smooth. I cannot complain. Of course, I had to deal with a bit of bureaucracy, and before having a proper office to deal with international students, I think it was a bit more difficult because you have to go here and there to ask people around, I mean, what to do and what not to do. So
thanks to the training hub, that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, but it's really nice because it was something that we foreigner students, we always complained in the beginning that it was very difficult to come without having someone dedicated to help us with these bureaucratic aspects. But now I think things are much better, and you do have this support for international students and postdocs coming from abroad. So I think, of course, you have to deal with bureaucracy, but with professional help, I think this won't be a problem. And in my opinion, I mean, at least my adaptation to Portugal, to Lisbon, to IMM, it was super smooth. Of course, the program helped a lot because of the course and because you immediately make friends with the people that are in the course with you, and that was very helpful. I mean, from again day one, I felt that I had people to count on in Lisbon, and these were like my PhD colleagues, and still, I mean, I still can count on them. I mean, we are friends until today, and yeah, I think, I mean, not living in Portugal shouldn't be a problem not to apply. I think, I mean, apply. The whole experience will be awesome. I mean, the institute is great. The city is like the best city ever.
Pedro,
I mean,
we miss you a lot. We also miss you a lot.
Manchester weather is much better than Lisbon weather, of course. But I mean, the rest, I think I prefer Lisbon. But yeah, I mean, it's a really easy adaptation. For sure.
We do miss you a lot, and I invite you all also to check the work that Pedro has done during his PhD. We have a video series, and actually Pedro was our guinea pig in this sketch of my PhD, and I believe that now in the next few minutes the video will be accessible through our chat also, so if you can check it out. Pedro was a great student, Mafalda also. I'm not saying goodbye, not just yet. I have one last question from Daniela Abreu. Actually, it's two questions, and it's important questions because this is something that we haven't spoken yet, which is, so when entering the doctoral program, do we still have to apply for scholarships, either FCT or other? This is the first question. And Filipa, do you want to answer to this?
Yes, no. So all the selected candidates will have an FCT fellowship with full tuition and the monthly fellowship all paid during the 4 years of the PhD.
Which means that they don't have to apply to FCT. We give them the fellowship. We have the fellowships ready to offer. No need to go through FCT.
Or any other funding agency. So you have the stipends for and the salary for the 4 years of your PhD here in the LisbonBioMed program. The second question from Daniela was if one can choose a lab besides the 11 groups listed in the case the PI accept the student.
No, not for this call. For this call, only the 11 labs that are listed in the website, only the 11 labs can host students for this edition.
Mm-hmm. And we have 5 available slots this edition, right? Fully funded positions.
Yes.
Correct. Okay, so I believe these are all the questions that we had on the chat. Probably some more will come after. So I think it's more or less time to wrap up. Maybe one last comment, one last thing that you, Mafalda and Pedro, would like to say to anyone who is looking for a PhD, and again, a little bit of what we have been talking about, but what would be the last thing that you would like to say to them? Mafalda, now it has to be you.
What do I have to say? Well, first of all, good luck. And you don't miss anything by applying to everything. And even if you get it, you're not obliged to take it. Like imagine you apply to 3 and first you get one and then you get another one. The interview process is very interesting in itself, and you can ask, when you're being interviewed, you can interview the interviewers as well. So don't be afraid to apply, because you'll fail in some and you'll get in another. And good luck.
Pedro? No, we are not listening. Now
Yeah,
we
no,
are.
yeah, I know.
You got lost in the pastéis de nata.
Yeah, I was dreaming about them. Well, it's difficult because there are so many stuff to say. Really, it's difficult. But I mean, I think to do a PhD is great. A lot of people will say otherwise and say that it's difficult and it's frustrating and it's infuriating, and it is all of that, you know. And it's not easy, of course. I mean, you've been through your college education, you've been through a master's, you are in a PhD, right? I mean, I think it's not supposed to be easy, because I mean, to understand things is not easy, you know. You have to pay the price for your curiosity, and I think this is it. So it will be difficult. It will be stressful, of course, because it's the nature of the whole thing. But if I may say something, you have to like enjoy it. And I think to enjoy it, you cannot choose only based on metrics or like numbers or whatever. You have to choose a place that makes you feel good with yourself, with your curiosity, with your questions. So you have to put everything into the bag, you know, and you have to weigh everything. So and not again. So I mean, there are great places to do a PhD, but from my experience, I think IMM really helped me to push through the difficult times that I might have had during the PhD. You know, because of the people, because of my friends. Because of all the miradouros in Lisbon. I mean, it's a great places to go after a hard day and drink a wine, watching the sunset. Amazing. And yeah, I think really, I mean, it won't be easy, but choose a place that you will have a quality of life as well, because I think it's super important.
Can I also just
yes,
sorry.
Of course.
I'm not completely sure that you can do this, but I would imagine so. Like, also don't be afraid to reach these available PIs, right? Because if you're interested in one of them already, I don't see why you shouldn't already just Zoom 15 minutes just to know what they do in the lab. It's super important that what you imagine of a lab, it's even closely related, because sometimes we read the papers and we think we know like the kind of experiments that they do, but that there's an entire other side of the lab that you don't know about. So I would say there's no problem in reaching to those PIs at this stage, but maybe they're not available. I don't know. It's just my...
Mafalda and Pedro, let me thank you very, very much. You are dearly missed here at IMM, both of you, and you are two great examples of this fantastic alumni community that we have, and it's growing and will probably flourish in the next years, and we will be able to see your careers either in science or something else go ahead and make it nice. That's the most important thing. So thank you so much for helping us and to give your testimonial about your PhD, your experience here. I would also like to thank to Filipa, which is the working force of this PhD program, and also to Domingos, our mastermind director of studies, who always comes with the most important questions and quotes and everything during our seminars. And it's a very important person in the life of this institute. And thank you all for taking also part on that side. And anything you need to know, please reach out. We are here to answer to all your questions. So thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank you.